Hey, Shalom, Malcolm. You're gonna get started here shortly. Just gotta check the audio real quick. Audio real quick. All right, we good. So, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. I want to give about honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstones taught us. This 100% truth according to the spirits of be Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word to the full corner of the earth to sincerity. To y'all, we say shalom. So we back here today again on a Sunday through the parents' spirit of Yahweh Shai. And we're continuing on and we're going to Judges chapter 4. And today I'm joined with the brother Assad. And we're gonna go into Judges chapter 4, which pretty much we just read in Judges chapter 3 how the Lord did another miracle similar to the miracle that he did at the Red Sea, but it was in the Jordan River, where the Jordan River was pretty much, you had the priests go and stand in the Jordan River, and the river bank stopped. You know what I'm saying? The river flow, and it was eventually land was revealed from the water being separated, and Israel walked through. Well, in this chapter, in Joshua chapter 4, the Lord is pretty much doubling down on that by pretty much having Israel make a memorial. And you see this throughout the scriptures, many times throughout the scriptures, man. When the Lord does particular things for the nation of Israel, he makes a memorial, because a memorial is something that you set up to be in remembrance of, right? So actually, let me get that real quick. You know, let me share this screen. Let's see. Let's go into the word memorial in general. Share wrong thing. Because that's what the Lord does through all of the scriptures, man. He makes a memorial. You
I
know,
had a
you
quick one for you too.
you said what?
I had a quick one too. Whenever I can.
Con. Let me get this word memorial real quick, and you got it. You got it. Right, it says memorial. This is a memorial in the etymology online. It says the adjective says late 14th century memorable, excellent, also remembered, committed to memory. You see, so the Lord, when He do these particular things, He says a memorial so it could be committed to our memory. So we could always remember and call back to these mighty works that Yahweh Bashmawashah have done for us. Because those particular things, right, they help strengthen our faith. You see, because that's all we're gonna have in the times we're coming into. When we go approaching, when we go approach certain I get obstacles and hurdles, the main thing that's gonna push them through is those memorials. You see, and that's what that's what was what was the problem with the nation of Israel. That what was the problem with the first generation. The first generation, they lacked faith. The Lord did all these miracles, made a memorial, splitting the Red Sea for them, and they still was complaining, thinking that the Lord brought them in the wilderness to die. But the Lord just delivered you from a 430-year captivity. A 430-year captivity, split the sea. You see, the Lord made intervention for you, and those are supposed to be memorials. Those will be called back to our mind in remembrance of the mighty works that Yahweh have done for us. You see, this is, in other words, I guess you could say, this is those particular things are like text evidence, you know, text evidence towards his reputation. Those back the reputation of the Lord. I'm gonna read a little bit more of this, and we're gonna get the brother side precept. But it says, from Old French memorial, mindful of, right? You got to be mindful of it, remembering. You see, because that's how the holy days are. The high holy days, they're memorials. They're to be observed and remembered. You know, right? And it says, and directly from Latin memorials, it says of or belonging to memory. So, in a nutshell, something that's set up to bring you into remembrance of something, to remind you of something, right? So, what precept do you have? I have a snap.
Yeah, I got it. This Psalms
I'll pull
105,
it
and I
for
got
you.
no, I got it right here. I already got the scriptures.
Okay, yeah, you gonna read it. I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna put it up here though.
Yeah,
But
it's
you gonna read it?
Psalms 105 and we get verse 4 and 5. I'll read it.
Okay, Psalms 105. God, you got it.
Yep, this the book of Psalms, chapter 105 and verse 4 and 5. It says, "Seek Yahweh Shem Shai in his strength, seek his face evermore. Remember his marvelous works that he have done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen." You see what I'm saying? So we gotta, Lord wants us to remember the acts that he's done, the miracles, like he did for us, allowing us to be able to be protected in that wilderness. You know, how he gave us the ability to take out them Canaanites out the land, and then like the brothers going into splitting the sea, so on and so forth. The Lord wants us to always remember his deliverances, so we can always know who our deliverance come from, our his saving power.
Yep, that's right. Beautiful point, man. Beautiful point. The Lord wants us to remember, because you gotta remember, the Lord, He's gonna make a memorial with Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it's like this modern day spiritual Sodom and Egypt. This is gonna be a memorial. It's gonna be an example to the nation of Israel and for the rest of the heathen nations. Because that's what Egypt was. That's what Egypt was a memorial. But the things that the Lord did in Egypt, that's a memorial to the other heathen nations. That whoever a nation power is that, which we're going to, because we just read in Joshua, what is it called? Joshua 2. It brought up Rahab, it brought her up. But she spoke about that memorial that the Lord had set up, about what happened in Egypt. See? So we're gonna get straight to it. It's
I'll
not a
read for
very
you. I got
long
it.
chapter. Con the water. Now I'm gonna read the title though. It says, like we're saying, memorial stones from Jordan. You see? So Lord in this chapter, he's gonna go into how he set up his memorial about just the miracle he just did in the prior chapter. But you got it out.
Yep, this is Judges chapter 4 and verse 1. And
And
it came to
Joshua,
pass. Yep. Oh, Joshua, I'm Salakia. I'm saying Judges.
you good. Which he
This
is a judge, but Joshua.
Yep. This Joshua chapter 4 and verse 1. And it came to pass when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that Yahweh Shah spake unto Joshua, saying, "Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man."
You see? It said take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe of men. So first off, you know, it's dealing with men, but secondly, you see throughout the scriptures that 12 is very significant, which we know that 12 is essentially representation of like the governing power. You got the 12 disciples, you got the 12 men, the 12 spies that was sent out. The Lord always deals with that number 12, and that lets us know that it's a lot of significance behind the number 12, because that number 12 essentially points towards the governing body of the nation Israel. You see, the Elohim a lot of times. That 12 does. But you got it out.
Then Jacob had 12 sons, 12
Yep.
patriarchs.
Yep. 12 sons, 12,000 from each tribe. You see? So you got it out.
Yep, this Joshua 4 and verse 3. And command ye them, saying, "Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and ye shall carry them over with you, and leave them in a lodging place where ye shall lodge this night."
See? So they're gonna go where the priests are standing, because the priests, where are they standing? They're standing at the river bank, like the belly of the river, like the deepest part. So the priests are supposed to go there, because you gotta remember Israel has it's like not the priests, the 12 men he picked. You got to remember, Israel has passed through. They're all on the other side of the Jordan River. And these 12 men that Joshua's picking out, they're going to go back and grab 12 stones from the feet of the priest, you know? And then they're going to take those 12 stones and set them where they was going to pitch tent at, you see? Pitch tent. As a matter of fact, I wonder, is there anything tied to, let me see. Let me see right quick. Let me see some real quick. Real quick, right quick. Hmm. Let me see. Let me see some. I want to see is okay. I figured. Okay. Okay. Mm, okay. I'll just pull this up in the chat. I just want to see, anything tying or just wanted to see something relating to the feet where the priests are, where the feet where the priests put their feet at, where they walk upon. And kind of, thinking that, it pretty much said it's a lot of times it's referring to how that ground that they're standing on is holy, it's sacred, you see. Because when he told the priest, I mean, he told the 12 men, so like he told the 12 men, the Lord ordered Joshua to tell the 12 men to go grab 12 stones from where the priests were standing. You see, it wasn't because, and it's a specific reason why he chose to get the 12 stones from the where the priest was standing. You know, because the Lord could have been like, go grab 12 stones from the other side or find you 12 stones, but no, go grab 12 stones from the feet, what I'm saying, of where the priests are standing. And we know the priests, which the priests are representation, that a Levitical priesthood, they're a representation of the service of the Lord. You see, and those men are sacred, they're hallowed. That's why when you go into the Levitical priesthood and you go into the particular things, the Lord is very particular. First off, you can't just be any Levi. I got to be Levi of the son of Aaron. So, but I want to see if it says anything. It says a little stuff, but mainly it kind of just says that it was sacred. The ground is sacred. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Really just the ground is sacred. All right, we jump back to that though.
And this is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 4. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel out of every tribe of man. Verse 5. And Joshua said unto them, pass over before the ark of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua your power into the midst of Jordan, and take ye up every man out of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the children of Israel.
You see, so they was ordered to go back until and they was ordered to go back into the Jordan River, go to the middle where the priests were standing, and to grab 12 stones. You see. Now let me see. Let me get this. Let me see. Let me find it. Because it's 12 stones, and they took these stones and put them upon their shoulders. You see, when you take something and kind of put it upon your shoulders, in a sense, it's almost like a representation of you carrying like a burden. You see. So let me get this real quick. Let's see. Uh, do you know the scripture that goes into how he should be a pillar in my house? I know this. Let me try to find it.
Pillar in your house. That sounds like a couple of
I'm probably
precepts.
I'm probably wording it.
You talking about that Revelation?
I think it is the Revelation.
Maybe talking about Revelation. Let me see. I think you talking about Revelation.
Let me see. It's like I can bear with us real quick.
I think you talking about that Revelation. Let me see if I can see. Let's see here. It's that it's not 15.
Yeah, it's Revelation 3. Yeah, that's it.
Revelation, yeah, Revelation, yeah. I figured.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it real quick. Yeah, Revelation 3. That's the one I'm looking for. It's Revelation 3 in verse 12. It says, "He that overcometh," which we know pursuant to Revelation 7, the ones that are going to overcome is going to be the elect, which the elect, it goes to what, 12,000 from each tribe, the 12 disciples. That 12, we know that's surrounding the governing body a lot of times. So it says, as a matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 11. Really, I'm going to start at verse 10. It's Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." You see, so the ones that keep the obedience of the scriptures, which will be the elect, what? They're going to get the victory. You see, they're going to have divine intervention when Esau comes down with great wrath and he brings forth he's trying to establish his new system. They're going to have divine intervention, and our temptation is the sea hip. So this is going into a specific temptation. What the temptation is going to is the temptation of the sea hip being brought forth mandatory under the penalty of death, right? So verse 11, "Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown," right? "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name." You see, and the new name is going to what? It's going to the reputation, which is just going to really be a restored name. But like I said, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power." Now, what are pillars? When you think about the pillars inside of the temple, the pillars, they essentially hold up the temple. Without the pillars, even in a house, they'll call them beams. Without those beams in the house, they help support the structure of the house. Because we know the foundation is Yahushua. So you had a foundation, which is Yahushua, then you had the pillars, which is the governing body. They help hold up the house. You see, they help support the house. And when going to that Joshua, going back to Joshua, right? 4, these 12 men they're grabbing stones and they're putting them upon their shoulders. And, the act of putting something upon your shoulders is to carry the burden or to carry the load. You see? So I just thought that was kind of neat that they had these 12 big ass stones. And my bad, you had 12 men get 12 big ass stones and to put them upon their shoulders to be as a memorial as we're entering into the promise, entering into the promised land. You see, because we're going to lodge there, then of course we're going to go to the promised land. We'll conquer those nations. But I just thought it was pretty neat. That connection right there. Did you have anything?
No, that's what a pillar do. It holds up the building, and we're likening the Lord's people is likening to that spiritual temple. So
Yeah,
really, we're doing the same thing right now. We're holding up the men of the Lord is being pillars right now.
that's right.
You ready for verse 6?
Con.
This Joshua chapter 4 and verse 6. It says that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in the time to come, saying, "What mean ye by these stones?" Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever.
You see, a memorial. And it's funny, it makes you think about because of course those stones are not there to this day, but they're here through in the spirit through these scriptures. So I'm gonna pull this real quick. I'm gonna pull this real quick. Because those particular things is documented. The Lord, of course, we don't have the stones physically here. You could go over there by Jordan, you can see where the stones are, but through the Spirit, the Lord preserved the Scriptures, which is pretty much our way of calling back to remembrance those memorials. You see, so I'm gonna pull this real quick. It's Romans chapter 15, verse 4. "For whatsoever things that were written aforetime was written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope." You see, so it was preserved through the Scriptures, the memorials, particular acts that we could call back to. So we could go back and read the book of Joshua as we're doing now and look at that memorial of the Lord doing that miracle in the Jordan River before we entered into the land. You see? So, and then when you think about it, Joshua name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. And that's what's going to happen. The Lord, He's going to come back. He's going to do a mighty work upon the earth before we enter into the sovereign rulership of the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be on earth. We jump back to the Joshua 4, unless you had anything.
I got you. It's Joshua chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, then ye shall answer them. Oh, Salakia, I'm in verse 8. I'll read verse 7 again, though. Joshua
Con, I
4
just
and
want to
7.
make
Oh,
I
yeah.
was gonna make a quick point too. In a sense, like it says in the bottom part of the verse, says, "And these stones should be a memorial unto the children of Israel forever." You see, so the Lord preserved these. You read it in what is it called? Dang, what's that? Baruch 4. 1. You know what I'm saying? Goes into how His law endureth forever, pretty much. You see, this the Lord preserved His law. So the children, which we are the children of Israel, our sons, we've come back. Those that generation there, they back here today, through reincarnation, and they call them back to that memorial of the particular things that the Lord did. So I just want to add that real quick, but you got it.
God, this is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, then ye shall answer them that the water of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh Bashem Rashai. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. Verse 8. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as Yahweh Shah spake unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over unto the place where they lodged, and they laid them down there. Verse 9. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests which bear the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there unto this day.
Right. So if you read it in the NLT, because that might little confuse you a little bit, let's put it in the NLT real quick. Right. You go down to that same verse, that Joshua 4 and verse 9. Right. It says Joshua also set up another pile of 12 stones in the middle of Jordan, at the place where the priests who carried the ark of the covenant were standing, and they are there to this day. You see, so it was Joshua had another pile be set up in the midst of Jordan. So there was a pile in the midst of it, and there's one that you have that they set where they're gonna lodge it. You see. Let me go back to the KJV. Let me go back to the KJV.
God, this is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 10. It says, for the priests which bear the ark stood in the midst of Jordan, until everything was finished that Yahweh Shah commanded Joshua to speak unto the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua, and the people hasted and passed over. Verse 11. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of Yahweh Shah passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people.
It's crazy because just thinking about the ark, how it went before them and behind them. You know, it makes me think about, because we know the ark is representation of Yahweh. So it makes me think about that angel, in Exodus. You know, let me get that real quick. All right, just read it real quick. It says Exodus chapter 23, verse 23. It says, for mine angel, which is in caps, well, the A is capital, we'll let you know something about Yahweh, shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and will cut them off. You see, so before they passed over Jordan, remember the Ark of the Covenant went before them. You see, it went before them. And then when you think about then the time of Egypt, when Israel was leaving Egypt, what happened? The Lord had the chariot go before them. It was a fire flame at night and a cloud by day, but it also went behind them when the Egyptians got behind them. You see? So and I was on the way to Israel, pretty much crossing over through the Red Sea and essentially being on the path to the promised land. So I just thought that that parallel right there, how the Ark of the Covenant was there and it walked before Israel, stopped, Israel came, and it was behind Israel, and now it's coming behind Israel. We know that Ark of the Covenant is representation of Yahweh Shah. That's what a lot of that's what these things point to. You got it up.
Yep, this is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 12. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh passed over armed before the children of Israel, as Moses spake unto them. Verse 13. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before Yahweh Shai into battle to the plains of Jericho.
Yeah. So like that, like we mentioned earlier, man. Joshua 2. I think it was Joshua 2. No, 1. Joshua 1. That promise that Moses that covenant you say that Moses made with Reuben and Gad about them if they got that land allotment that was on the other side of Jordan, right? Then they will promise that they wouldn't rest until the rest of the nation got their portion, their land allotments. And we see that pretty much playing out now. They're heading to Jericho war, getting ready. You see?
Kind, and those are the warrior tribes of the
Yeah.
northern kingdom. And it's quoted in a couple of precepts. I'm looking real quick. If it's not in this chapter, then we can go in. I'll see you on. I'll just try to see if I can grab it real quick.
Yeah,
Just slide it
I'll look for it.
fast.
Let me see. I'll
You
see
may
how
just put
far.
it's yeah, it's quoted exactly the same way. You can just put let me see where it's at. You can just put half the tribe of Manasseh, half tribe Manasseh, and it'll pop up.
Let me see and put that in.
Matter of fact, I think it's one right here. Let me see numbers. What is that? Numbers 32. Let me see if this is it. I might have it right here. Like it. Because that's the
Nah, you
warrior
good.
tribes. Let me see numbers 32 and 20. Let me see what they say. Yeah, that's going. Okay, yep. That's going into what you were talking about. That's not the one I'm looking for though. You type it in.
Yeah, I type it in. I'm looking. I'm trying to see. It
It's
says.
one. It's one in Chronicles.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Chronicles. It says. I'm gonna share this because it's got it up here.
Let me see.
Yeah, you talking about Chronicles 5 and
Yep, there
18,
it
right?
is. Oh yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
this is First Chronicles chapter 5 verse 18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with the bow, and skillful in war, were 40,703 score, and went out to war.
Kind. So that was the warrior tribes for Northern Kingdom. You know, that's why I always quote them. There's many scriptures that say it. Like it'll say the men of Gad, Reuben, and then it'll say the half the tribe of Manasseh. And the scriptures oftentimes it repeats that 'cause that was like the warrior tribes for the Northern Kingdom.
Mm, God. I'm gonna get that word valiant. This is Strong's GH 2428. Chayal, Chayal, and it says strength, might, efficiency, wealth, army. You see, ability, efficiency, force. So, like the priest saying, they was valiant men. Even you read right here, probably a fourth with of men, army. See, they was an army. They was a part of the army of the nation Israel. It says right here, army, band of men, soldiers. See, so they was the warriors, like the priest just said, man, the warrior tribes, and that's why the Lord had it set up to where they will go out to help the nation of Israel receive the promise. Which essentially, when you get, especially talking about Jericho, which we'll get to it, Jericho went down by it was pretty much no weapons of war, just essentially just singing in obedience. But it's only a matter of time for Israel to see that because right now they're getting ready for battle. Wait, we can jump back to the Joshua 4.
Kind of. Yep. He even had it named some of those tribes too when King David went to that war in Ziklag. You can read
Yeah,
about that too.
Ziklag.
And they named Benjamin how they were able to shoot the bow with the opposite end. Then it went into Gad too, how they had the face of a lion and stuff like that. So hey, that's part of our culture. But I got you, bro. We have verse 14.
Uh, huh.
This is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 14. It says, on that day, Yahweh Shah magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the days of his life.
So what happened was, like it's kind of it's pretty much reiterating what was said in chapter 3. The Lord had Joshua do that miracle, and it showed the nation Israel that this is indeed a man of the Lord. Because you got to remember, this is the second generation, so a lot of the stuff they wasn't there when the nation of Israel had asked the Lord, we would rather speak unto you and not Moses. They weren't there. But if they've heard of the story, you know how you got those as a kid, you're growing up, you hear those stories because you read Deuteronomy, that was Moses reiterating the law and the punishments of the nation of Israel. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially having Joshua and Caleb there, they speak about those particular stories. Because we do that today, because those are memorials. The Lord delivering the nation of Israel from the Egyptians, the plagues, you know, it was a point in time when nation Israel said, we don't want to talk to Moses. We want to talk to the Lord. And the Lord had the mountain shaking. The Lord didn't even show up. Yeah, he had the mountain shaking. So you got to think about that. Those are particular stories that this generation is hearing. They're like, shit. So they're like, when they see the Lord being with Joshua, that's what come to mind. Alashadja, the great demon-like power. You know, our power is with this man. You see, and you see that you finna see that today. Right now it's not manifested. Right now, scriptures going to that. It is we the sons of God, but it's not manifested right now. But we come into those times where, as it says in 2 Ezra 16, then it should be known who am I chosen. People gonna know that the Lord is with these men. But you got it out.
Yep. This is Joshua 4 and 15. And Yahweh Shah spake unto Joshua, saying, command the priests that bear the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of Jordan. Verse 17. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, come ye up out of Jordan.
Yeah, so they walked out of the water pretty much. I mean, they walked out of the Jordan River, the base. This is going into, like we mentioned, you had the priest walk into the water, the miracle happened, and this is all on the command of Joshua. The Lord is dealing with Joshua. It's all on the command with Joshua. Joshua commanded him to walk in the water. The priest to go before, walk in the water. The miracle happened. Israel crossed over. Joshua put 12 men to come back, get 12 stones from the base of where the priest was standing, bring those stones out, and Joshua set up another pile of stones in the midst of the Jordan River. You see, and then he had the priest come out of the Jordan River. You see, and pretty much prepare to get ready to head to Jericho. But you got it out.
Yep, this Joshua 4 and 18. And it came to pass when the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of Yahweh Shai were come up out of the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the priest's feet were lifted up unto dry land, and the waters of Jordan returned unto their place, and flowed over all his banks as they did before.
See, so once the Ark of the Covenant moved, that's when the water went back. You see, that's when it essentially went back. Everything went back to normal. And in a sense, you could think about that as in you not being in the hiding place of the Lord. You see, because imagine if the Ark of the Covenant was there and the nation of Israel didn't pass and the Ark of the Covenant just walked straight through. You see, essentially, the water would have went back. Because of course, too, this is all based upon obedience. There's a certain order the Lord wants it to be done in. It's a particular order. The Ark of the Covenant goes first, then the nation of Israel. Then after the nation of Israel crosses over, and the stones get set, then the Ark of the Covenant comes afterwards. See, so you gotta be in line. Imagine if a nigga, man, I decided I want to stay back. Or I want to go before. Eventually, they'd have been judged because they would have been outside of that safe haven. They'll be outside of the secret place of the Lord at that point.
That spiritual ark.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, kind of like the water. Spiritual art. The water. I was trying to think like the water, spiritual art, man. That's it.
Oh, yeah. This Joshua chapter 4 and verse 19. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and encamped in Gilgal in the east border of Jericho. Verse 20. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan and did pitch in Gilgal. I'm going to read it again, Slakia. This is Joshua 4 and 20.
I
And
get up.
those 12 stones, yep, which they took out of Jordan, did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. Verse 21.
All right, you keep going.
And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, when your children shall ask their fathers in the time to come, saying, what mean ye these stones? Verse 22. Then shall ye let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. Verse 23.
See, so,
Oh, you got it.
you see, so just pretty much, right now it's just kind of reiterating the whole thing. So as a priest, when he reads the full thing, um, I'm gonna pull up a map, kind of where show you where Israel's pretty much at, and yeah. So you got it out.
This is Joshua chapter 4 and verse 23. For Yahweh Bashem will show your power, dry up the waters of Jordan from before you until you were passed over, as Yahweh Bashem will show your power did to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until we were gone over. Verse 24. That all the people of the earth might know the hand of Yahweh Bashem Shai, that it is mighty, and that ye might fear Yahweh Bashem Shai your power forever.
See, so I'm gonna pull this scripture real quick. Pull this Psalm 9. Where is it at? 16. Yeah, this is Psalms 9 and 16. It says, the Lord Yahweh Bashan Shai is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hagan Salah. You see, and Salah means sit on that. Because that's what the Lord is. He's known by the mighty works that he does. Because those particular works, those go into the reputation of the Lord. As the priest had read in that Joshua, the Lord, how he dried up the water in Jordan, same thing in the Red Sea, so that his name will be glorified essentially. So the people know that these mighty works of Yahweh, that these mighty works are of from Yahweh Bashmawashai. The scriptures say the Lord will give his glory to no other. Let me see that. Let me pull that real quick. Damn, fucking fucked it up. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, I said 42. Okay, it's Isaiah 42 in verse 8. It says, I am the Lord Yahweh. That is my name. And like we said, name, the one that pertains to reputation, right? And my glory I will not give to another, neither my praise to graven images, going into idols. You see, so you got all these particular idols throughout the earth, niggas giving homage to, but we come to the time where the Lord's going to show you that that glory belongs unto him. You see, that glory belongs unto him, it belongs unto his son. You got to think about it. Revelation 5, it tells you how things in heaven, things on earth, everything's going to bow down to Yahweh Shai. It's going to be known who is the true living power. Scriptures say how let them know you as we know you. We know through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shai, he the true living power. He put a spirit upon us, we came into the obedience of the scriptures. But as far as these heathen nations, they don't acknowledge the power of our Lord. Now in but back then they did at a point in time, as you see in the book of Joshua. The book of Joshua, hey, Rahab was like, we heard about your power. And you gotta think about it, they had their idols, but they knew that these idols couldn't mount up to the true living power. They was like, nah. Even when you read in the book of Samuel, when we had a lot of conflict and strife with the Philistines, when they took the Ark of the Covenant made Dagon get on his knees. Which Dagon, if I'm not mistaken, he's the fish. Well, he's an idol that had like a fish head or a frog head. My bad, I think he had a frog head. But Dagon, they'll come in there and they'll see Dagon kneeling down to the Ark of the Covenant. And who the Ark of the Covenant is? Yahweh Shai. As a matter of fact, let me pull this real quick. Is that Isaiah 19? I think it's Isaiah 19.
Talking about all the idols of Egypt that
Yeah,
fell.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Isaiah 19.
Isaiah. Yeah, this is Isaiah. Oh, my bad. Let me share this. This is Isaiah 19:1. It says, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua rideth upon a swift cloud, going to a chariot, and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt should be moved to his presence. And the heart of Egypt should melt in the midst of it. You see, and that's what's going to happen. Because in ancient times, that's pretty much what happened, man. Those idols was all confounded when Yahweh Shai showed his mighty work in the earth. And the same thing is gonna happen now, man. The idols are gonna be confounded. The Lord showed you all throughout the scripture, like I mentioned, during the time of Samuel. I think it's really during the time of David, but I know it's in a book. I think it's in Second Samuel, but it speaks about how Dagon, the idol Dagon, kneeled down onto the Ark of the Covenant when the heathens took it from Israel. We went to war, we lost. They got the Ark of the Covenant, and they took it. Yeah, that's during the time of Samuel, if I'm not mistaken, because I think
I
Eli
think
ended
that
up
was
dying.
before David. I think that was before David became
Yeah,
king.
yeah, I think during the time
Yeah, it
of
was before
Samuel
David.
when I think Eli died. I think Eli ended up dying
Yeah, it was around
before
that
they
time.
took
That was
it.
before King David.
Yeah, it was kind of the water because I was trying to get it like, yeah, that's before King David. But what happened? They went to Dagon kneeling down to the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, I was shot. So hey man, we in that time where the Lord going to reestablish His authority in earth. That reputation of the names Yahweh, White Yahweh Shai gonna be back restored in earth, man. And we here for it. Lord, and we be those men that are chanting and praising those names, so we can receive salvation. So I'm gonna get this map real quick, and we'll end it off. So this is the map right here. You see, this is the Jordan River right here that they crossed over. And Gilgal, that's pretty much where they was at. Not too far. And this is where you had Reuben, Gad, half tribe Manasseh, they all kind of was like over here. Because all of this is ours. All of this is gonna be ours. All of that. But that's pretty much where Israel's at. They was right there in Gilgal. That's where they's at. Right by Jericho. You see? So yeah, man, if you got any precepts?
Hey, kind of was well put, bro.
God, hey, wait, Lord is edifying through the power and spirit, Yahweh Shai, and feed you lemon sheets of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. We're going to end up saying, Call Allah, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Hakwadash. We're going to give honor to the apostles, integrate millstone to y'all. We're going to say Shalom.